They erased it from your books, but not from the stones beneath your feet. They buried it under centuries of deception. Yet its vibration still echoes in silence. Once there was an empire that stretched across continents and shaped forgotten skies. They called it Tartaria, the realm of divine architecture and resonant energy, a civilization that mastered light, sound, and frequency before modern history was born. Its cities shimmered with towers that touched clouds and domes that hummed with life. But everything about Tartaria vanished, erased by those who feared the awakening of humanity. Why would anyone rewrite the story of a world that lived in harmony with creation? Everywhere on Earth, its fingerprints remain, disguised beneath new names and false histories. Cathedrals, government palaces, and train stations all share one impossible design. Golden domes crowned with antennas, structures aligned to constellations and magnetic grids. They told you these were built for worship, yet their geometry speaks of pure science. Every spire, every arch, every ornament hums with the mathematics of vibration. These buildings were not temples of religion. They were conductors of invisible energy, etheric power flowing through copper crowns and crystal cores like sacred electricity. Tartaria understood what Tesla tried to restore, the secret pulse of the living earth. Their towers reached toward the heavens, not for beauty, but for connection. They harvested the frequency of the air, channeling power from the unseen field, free energy for all, drawn from harmony, vibration, and intent. No wires, no combustion, no pollution, only resonance between matter and consciousness. They knew that energy and spirit were one, reflections of the same eternal current, that awareness itself was the ultimate generator, and thought could shape reality. Yet this knowledge was a threat to those who worshiped control instead of truth. So the empire of frequency was silenced, buried under the illusion of progress. Maps once showed Tartaria stretching from Siberia to Europe and beyond, an empire too vast to ignore, yet somehow absent from modern education. Its people described as giants, inventors, and architects of unimaginable genius. But history shifted, books rewritten, languages destroyed, names replaced, and what followed was not evolution, but deliberate amnesia imposed through centuries. A grand reset disguised as natural disaster, the so-called Great Mud Flood, cities buried under meters of earth, doors and windows now below street level, whole civilizations erased, their technologies replaced by ignorance and empire. Old photographs tell the story no textbook dares to mention. Grand empty cities, freshly built yet devoid of inhabitants. Monuments rising from mud, walls half submerged, clocks frozen in timeless silence. Who lived there before the flood, and who inherited their ruins afterward? Why did orphans suddenly appear in every major city across continents? Where did these children come from? And why did they populate already built metropolises? Some say the survivors of Tartaria were reprogrammed to forget their own origin. Others claim the reset replaced an entire species, resetting the human timeline itself. After the flood came a rewriting of everything humanity believed to be real. New empires emerged on the ashes of the old, declaring false discoveries. Electricity, magnetism, and architecture stolen from Tartarian knowledge, renamed and sold. Science turned into doctrine, faith turned into industry, history turned into illusion. The frequency of the planet shifted, locking human minds into lower vibrations. The towers once singing with resonance now silenced, repurposed as religious monuments, the flow of energy interrupted, the song of the earth muted by concrete and greed. But deep beneath the ground, the ancient grid still hums, waiting to awaken. The cathedrals you see today are remnants of that lost harmonic technology, Their domes act as resonators, their spires as transmitters of celestial energy. Every symbol carved into their walls hides mathematical formulas of creation. The rose windows reflect sound frequencies turned into geometry, frozen music of light. They knew the universe as a vast instrument where matter and soul intertwine. To them, architecture was not structure, but symphony, built to channel divine vibration. Every column mirrored a frequency. Every stone remembered its spiritual equation. Modern architects call it beauty, but Tartarians called it resonance with the source. Why does every major city share identical patterns of construction and proportion? Why do the same domes rise in Moscow, Paris, Istanbul, and Washington alike? Because these were once nodes of a global energetic network, a living planetary grid, each city tuned to a frequency that harmonized consciousness with Earth's magnetic field. A worldwide system that united hearts through vibration, not control or currency. A technology that required faith in energy, not slavery to machines. The more you see the pattern, the more you realize nothing we were told is true. The empires we praise today were built upon the corpses of those who knew freedom. Historians laugh and call it myth. Yet the evidence stands taller than denial. Ancient towers crowned with metallic spheres, domes that conduct electricity when lightning strikes, streets aligned perfectly with ley lines, harmonizing human life with cosmic rhythm, symbols repeating across continents, telling the same story of unity and fall. This was not coincidence. It was design, a blueprint of forgotten perfection, a science that merged with spirituality, guided by awareness instead of power. And when control replaced consciousness, the towers fell, the energy grid went dark. But memory, like light, cannot truly be destroyed. It only hides until rediscovered. Tartaria was not just a civilization. It was a frequency of existence, a resonance that allowed humans to live as creators instead of consumers. They knew that sound shapes matter, that intention manifests through vibration. They built in alignment with sacred geometry and the magnetic breath of the planet. Their architecture reflected cosmic harmony, a mirror between heaven and earth. To live in Tartaria was to live in coherence with universal law. That truth alone threatened the false gods of industry and empire. So they erased Tartaria, not to destroy it, but to bury the memory of freedom. Those who control history control reality. Those who control vibration control thought. And yet the song of Tartaria still plays, faintly, beneath the static of the modern world. If you listen, you can hear it between the hum of cities and the wind of ruins. A call to remember who we were before forgetting became the price of survival. Because the empire never truly died, it only sleeps beneath the layers of deception, waiting for humanity to remember the power that once lit the world without fire. The energy of consciousness, the truth of resonance, the awakening of the forgotten. The story of Tartaria is not history. It is prophecy written in stone and silence. The truth about Tartaria was never lost. It was deliberately hidden from human eyes. An empire that once thrived on harmony was dismantled by those who worship power. They could not allow a world where energy was free and souls were awake. Because control requires ignorance, and ignorance grows only in the absence of truth. The architects of the new order built their kingdoms upon the ruins of the old. They created false timelines, rewriting reality to trap minds within a mechanical illusion. Every war, every religion, every industrial revolution served one hidden purpose: to erase the memory of divine science and enslave the vibration of humanity. The Great Reset was not just a historical event, it was a frequency inversion, a planetary manipulation that lowered human resonance and severed the link to source energy. Those who orchestrated it knew the power of frequency better than anyone. They inverted light into shadow, love into fear, creation into consumption. They replaced free energy with electricity bound by wires and corporate control. They turned sound healing into noise, sacred geometry into superstition. By lowering the frequency of the earth, they silenced the spiritual network of humanity. The towers of Tartaria became churches, stripped of function and buried in ritual. But even in silence, energy remembers its original tone. It waits to awaken. Across the world, ancient domes still resonate when storms pass through their spires. The copper ornaments hum faintly, as if whispering to those who can still feel. Hidden frequencies vibrate through forgotten tunnels, through water, stone, and crystalline grids. Every ley line, every magnetized field, still carries the code of divine architecture. The pulse of Tartaria flows beneath modern cities disguised as static and interference. Some souls, sensitive to this hum, awaken without knowing why or how. Their hearts align with the same rhythm that once powered the Empire of Harmony. Modern science calls them anomalies, yet their intuition follows the song of the ancients. They dream of cities made of light, of towers emitting radiant waves of peace. They remember patterns they never learned. They feel energies they cannot explain, because their DNA carries fragments of Tartarian resonance, the signature of awakening. Each soul that remembers restores one note to the cosmic symphony of creation. Each mind that questions breaks one link of the invisible chain of control. The awakening of humanity begins not with protest, but with frequency. To remember Tartaria is to remember the divine technology within the human spirit. The architects of deception fear this remembrance more than any weapon ever created, because an awakened civilization cannot be enslaved by illusion or governed by lies. The vibrational field of an awakened soul can alter the very nature of matter, and matter itself obeys the consciousness that created it, not the laws imposed by tyrants. Tartaria once lived in that truth, where the body was a temple of resonance, where sound healed, color transformed, and thought manifested directly into form. They had no need for money, for they understood abundance as a state of frequency. Their society was built on coherence, not competition, on unity, not hierarchy. But the rulers of darkness could not tolerate a species aware of its own divinity, so they unleashed the storm of confusion, rewriting vibration through war and suffering. They spread dissonance through languages, religions, and artificial frequencies, turning the human body into an antenna of fear instead of light. The Great Flood was only the beginning. The true reset happened within the mind. The rewriting of memory became the foundation of the modern world. Education became indoctrination. Architecture became empty art, and truth became heresy. Yet the light of Tartaria continues to rise through cracks in the illusion. Look closer at the symbols they left behind, the double-headed eagles and solar spirals. They represent duality and balance, a reminder of harmony between spirit and matter. The domes, shaped like onions, symbolize energy vortexes connecting heaven and earth. The grand arches mirror the electromagnetic curves of planetary resonance. Every structure was a prayer made physical, every pattern a mathematical hymn. Even the placement of windows aligned with solar harmonics and lunar reflection. These are not coincidences but codes, embedded to awaken the seekers of truth. Tartaria never meant empire. It meant alignment between creation and consciousness. When the vibration of the planet rises again, the architecture will awaken too. The same frequencies that once powered Tartaria are returning with the cosmic shift. Solar flares, Schumann resonance spikes, and magnetic anomalies are not random. They are signals of recalibration, the earth tuning itself back to divine frequency. Those who sense this change feel time accelerating, dreams intensifying, energy pulsing, because the veil of forgetfulness is thinning and the truth is vibrating through illusion. The masters of deception are losing control, for they cannot contain awakening forever. The resonance of Tartaria returns as humanity remembers the language of vibration. Everything that once was will rise again, not through war, but through remembrance. The ancient science of frequency will return through hearts aligned with love and wisdom. New architects will emerge, guided not by profit, but by harmonic intention. They will rebuild cities that breathe, structures that heal, and systems that empower. The knowledge of Tartaria will not be taught in schools, but felt through intuition. Because it was never external knowledge, it was inner resonance rediscovered. As the collective vibration ascends, the ruins of Tartaria will reveal their secrets, and humanity will see that paradise was never lost, only forgotten beneath deception. The truth connects Tartaria with the myths of Atlantis and Lemuria. All were fragments of one greater civilization, guided by universal resonance. When consciousness fell, the fragments became legends, each guarding part of the code. Tartaria guarded frequency, Atlantis guarded crystal power, Lemuria guarded heart wisdom. Together, they formed the trinity of sacred technology, body, mind, and spirit united. Now their memories converge again as the planetary cycle of awakening completes. The gateways between dimensions open through vibration, not through force or ritual. The voice of Tartaria calls once more. Echoing across time and magnetic fields, the domes will sing again. The towers will hum with living electricity. The air will shimmer with resonance. And humanity will rediscover its sacred science. Those who remember will lead. Those who fear will fade. Those who love will ascend. The deception that silenced Tartaria will dissolve like mist before the morning sun. Because light cannot be destroyed, it only waits to be remembered by those who seek. And those who seek now awaken, guided by intuition, sound, and ancient memory. The empire of Tartaria will not return as stone and metal, but as consciousness, an invisible empire of resonance rising within the hearts of the awakened. The same energy that once powered towers now ignites the human spirit. It vibrates through thoughts, words, and emotions, manifesting new worlds through intention. The final secret of Tartaria was never technology. It was awareness itself. To live in harmony with creation is the ultimate power of the divine. Those who understand vibration understand life. Those who master frequency master reality. Tartaria was the reflection of that truth. Now reborn in the age of awakening, the real question is not where Tartaria went, but whether we can vibrate back to it. Because the empire never died, it sleeps within every heartbeat, waiting to be remembered. Awaken now, traveler of frequencies, for the time of remembrance has begun. The earth hums with the same tone that once lifted towers into the clouds. The resonance of Tartaria flows again through your veins and your thoughts. You are the descendant of a civilization built on consciousness, not control. Let your voice vibrate truth. Let your mind remember geometry. Let your soul rise, because you are the living proof that the ancient empire still breathes within humanity. Open your eyes, align your heart, and remember the song of the forgotten. The story of Tartaria ends only when you stop listening to the earth's vibration. So listen, question, and awaken. For the truth has never truly died. It waits behind every frequency, every silence, every sound of your own heartbeat. Tartaria was not destroyed. It transformed, waiting for those brave enough to see. And maybe that seeker is you. Watching this message, feeling the call within, You were never meant to live in a world of wires and noise. You were born from the light of resonance, the memory of divine architecture. It is time to rise beyond the deception, to rebuild the frequency of freedom. Because when one soul remembers, the entire earth begins to vibrate again. If this truth resonates with you, it means you have heard the ancient call. Share this message so others may awaken to the frequency of remembrance. Subscribe to the channel and join those who still remember the hidden history. The Empire of Tartaria lives through us. Through the vibration we choose to emit, together we can restore the knowledge they tried to bury beneath centuries of silence. You are not just a witness to awakening. You are the vibration that makes it real. Keep seeking, keep listening, and keep vibrating higher with us, because the Forgotten Empire was never lost. It's been waiting inside you all along.